So Othello also is going to go to the library, and basically once the Thai Strategos let go of her shoulder and the crowd sort of dispersed, she got out of there and went somewhere else.
That's fair.
The sort of like the power walking, but like just slow enough that you're not looking like you're running away from the place.
I feel that.
Nope walk.
Yeah, the nope walk.
Is Ventus sticking around to try and sleight of hand something?
Yes.
I had a
Sorry,
suspicion.
Ventus. She probably would have helped you in some way, but she got freaked and she doesn't want to be in there anymore.
Oh, but I was going to ask you to do something.
It's
Traitor.
You'll make it. I believe in you, Ventus.
I mean, if you want to try to catch her as she was leaving and talk to her about it, then I guess we could do that. But she's probably just gonna keep going. She's kind of freaked.
No,
At
if he
this
saw
point,
you leaving, he wasn't going to chase after you.
At this point, if you guys are moving past each other, including the movement you guys just did, if you're moving past another player character, you can feel free to share any information you've gathered, as long as you don't dedicate like an extended conversation to it, unless you're willing to, show that you're socializing with someone in the party.
And Tychus ended up walking to the same place. Othello would just briefly mention that she would do what she did before, which was she would mention the rumor, but she would put a little bit of stress on the I heard that. It was sort of the indicator that she didn't just hear it.
I don't suppose you'd be interested in ramping up your conversation with the high strategos.
No. Athela, as soon as basically he let go and that sort of thing ended, she was out.
Othello's just
really okay.
Othello's over here just like, I heard a rumor. Well, let's start with Ventus. I'm interested to see where this goes.
You've got that plus to your check now.
It's a pretty sizable bonus, especially relative to what your sleight of hand is.
Yes.
Gives you a better chance of success.
Are there any places, like, I see there's like a lot of like little side room alcove areas. Is there any of those where I could go to discreetly cast a spell without anyone noticing?
You could try.
Well, I would like to try.
Okay. Give me a stealth check.
Oh, gross.
Good luck.
What spell are you trying to cast?
Unseen Servant? It's a spell-like ability, I should say.
Yeah. That might make a difference. Does it still have verbal and somatic components?
No, it does not.
What is this from?
It's from my Noble Scion feat, actually.
Oh yeah, you get you get like 3 or 4 different little spell-like abilities, don't you?
Oh, that's cool.
Does it? I'm interested. Does it make mention of how those are done?
Well,
all it says is that you cast them at your effective level. It doesn't say that they're adjusted in any way.
Well, spell-like abilities don't have verbal or somatic components unless otherwise mentioned, but they are noticeable from some sort of
Yeah, they make the same light show that all spell casting does, unless you use like a stealth casting feat.
Yeah, it says they have no components, but it doesn't say anything else.
So like they
Yeah,
couldn't
so-
hear me chanting, but they could see like a glow around me or whatever. If
So
they
to
were
be fair, not all spells have a light show associated. Some are fairly subtle spells, just generally. You know,
no, because Paizo needed to sell its intrigue. Oh God, don't I?
like some things are super obvious, like magic missile, literally shooting missiles from your hand. You know, some don't have a clear like obvious visual effect like suffocation or whatever. It's just you draw someone's air out of their lungs. There's
Yeah,
no real
there
visual,
isn't
there's
an
no real obvious
there isn't an
indicator
obvious
of the
visual
spell.
effect for the spell, but there's an obvious visual effect around you. Think like, I don't know, kind of like in an anime where like you get like flashy magic symbols appearing in the sky around in the air around your character, or like
Where is that written?
it's in it's in a really badly thought out FAQ on their website, and also in the Ultimate Intrigue book.
That's not in any of the actual like base stuff that describes how magic works. Does not say anything about that.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, to be fair though, if it is an Ultimate Intrigue, that's one of the later books they made. And if we just took stuff that was, for example, in Ultimate Equipment or Ultimate Wilderness, and we're like, well, that's not in pre-existing books, we'd be shooting ourselves in the foot, right? So even though I didn't know about that, if you're 100% positive that it's in Ultimate Intrigue, I will take that as fact until I get Ultimate Intrigue, which is actually on my list for acquiring with the funds from this campaign.
I can send you a link to the PDF if you'd like.
Yeah, I'd be willing to check it out just for that, but I'm not gonna do it right now. I'm just gonna.
I've got all of the books on PDF because Yar har fiddle-dee-dee.
I mean, you can send it to me if you want, but having it on PDF doesn't help me when it comes to something that we would have in the game. I'll just take your word for it for now, and eventually I will get the book. I mean, if it's in Ultimate Intrigue is a book we should have for this campaign.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that this one is like.
This is the Ultimate Intrigue campaign. It's the one that came out around the same time.
Yeah.
Interesting that you can look at like multiple of the Ultimate books, and I can only think of a few. I don't know if they're all like this. You can look at multiple of the Ultimate books and be like, these came out specifically with this campaign in mind.
Well, I think it was more a coordinated marketing effort. Like they were developing the book and the campaign at the same time, so they wanted the campaign to highlight the
mechanics in the new book.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. So I'll just take that for your word. I don't know to what extent it is, but there would be some visual indication that you're doing what you're doing, and with your role, you would definitely be spotted. And unsummarily escorted out of the building. In like the politest way possible. Like you had a couple guards come up to you and be like, "Sir, we need to have a conversation with you."
1 second.
They're not going to give you time to cast the spell if that's what you're trying to do.
I was going to say two things. I just saw there was like map shit up on your computer, and I just want just in case.
Though it is like a standard action to cast it, so I guess there could be a conversation there.
I was just going to bring that up to see that case you might have done.
Damien, I can't hear anything you're saying.
Not talking to us.
My roommate came into the room. I had to explain to him I was busy. Sorry.
Fair. If you want, it could be dangerous, but if you want, I would say, because you did get caught casting it, so you would be in the process of casting it. You would have cast it. You could tell the servant to do something, though I would say it's dangerous. What do you think, Owen? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Yes.
What I want to try to do is lie to them.
Yeah,
Is there like
yeah, just because they spotted
there-
you doesn't mean they know exactly what you're doing, right?
yeah, well, not unless they've got spellcraft and could identify it that way.
That's true. There is the potential that they have done that.
Is there like
And just to put the fear of God in you.
is there like this would definitely be like in some place, like in a corner somewhere or something. Is there like a light source?
Yeah, there isn't a dark room that you could have gone into. You
No. I'm specifically looking for like, is there like a candle or a sconce on the wall or some sort of fire or light source nearby?
Yeah, definitely. I would even go as far as to say that this building probably actually has like a light source built into the wall, not like a lantern, but something that's being fueled from within the wall.
Yeah, so like an oil lamp system.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. I'm gonna.
There's probably multiple of them in the room if it matters.
I'm gonna silently instruct the servant to try to disrupt the light to make it the light source to make it flare up or flash in a notable way.
Okay. It can definitely go interact with the light source. It's going to take a moment to do that. So let's see what your conversation with these men goes like. Now that they've asked you to come with them.
What is this about?
Just a routine inspection, sir. Nothing serious.
All right, I'll come with you, but I think you should probably send someone back to look at this light. It was flashing weirdly earlier.
Okay, so like, how much of force can like the average man exert with like his hand, as an example? Because I don't actually know, and it's relevant right now.
I'd have to look it up.
That like I kind of looked into it, like on the internet, but there wasn't like a set number I could find.
Well, if you want to do it in like from a rules perspective, you could look at the maximum push or drag weight of a strength 10.
The unseen servant, though, isn't supposed to be as strong as an actual person.
Closest thing I don't know what N stands for, but average human can exert 300 to 350 N. I don't know what that's for.
That's what the measurement is.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
As
as an
example,
interesting note, I think
Uh,
the best thing that he could do, I don't think he could actually stoke the flame like the unseen servant. I think the best it could do
No,
is
I wasn't thinking stoking the flame so much as tightening the aperture, essentially using his hand to. I mean, he can't burn. He's a shapeless magical force. But like, if he could essentially create a tighter aperture with his appendage, that would cause the output pressure of the gas to go up, which would create a like a jet. But I mean, I guess I didn't say that to him. I just said, make the light flicker. So
I think what could be achieved with what was said and the capabilities of this creature is that he could like disturb the lights and maybe cause like one of them to look over as you're talking, and you would see for a moment that like the light faltered. It looks like interrupted
okay,
before they like turn back. Before the man who looked away turns back towards you. So now they're both looking at you again.
I mean that's why I was over here. I was brought over by the changing light, the flickering lights.
Give me a. I mean, if you want, give me a bluff check. Okay, sir. We're gonna have to question you about these flickering lights. Please come with us. And like one of the men begins to walk behind you as the other one churns towards the exit on the opposite side of the room.
Okay. Well, I'm not gonna make a fuss.
Okay. In like the most polite, respectful way that they can, they'll get you outside of the building, so you're like now back at the bottom of the stairs, outside of the gates.
Mm-hmm.
But what I will let you do is, if you want to provide some kind of context for a way you will attempt to get back in, we can take care of that now. How would
I think. How much do I think a bribe would cost?
Give
To
me,
like one of the guards.
if you're not gonna straight up ask them, if you're gonna try and be a smart boy and provide them an apt one, you give me a knowledge local or a knowledge nobility check.
Knowledge nobility.
Looking at the crowd and factoring in whether or not you need to actually bring up anything that you've done, I think you could get away with 25 gold pieces to get back in. I know.
I'll see if I
You
can get
have-
it.
You have 25 gold?
I have 24 gold.
Oh.
A groan of level 1 wallet pain.
I'm persuasive. I think I'll be able to convince someone to go with 20 gold.
Okay. If you can give me A bluff check. If that's the route you're trying to go, I'll let you give me a bluff check.
Okay. I'm going to use my Cryptic Omens
Okay.
ability to give myself a +2 on this roll. Or is it a +1? Let me double check. Abilities, Cryptic Omens.
It's a +2.
First use of a class ability.
Bluff, Diplomacy, yeah. So +2 Insight bonus, so +2.
And you're
yes,
gonna
it's
use
classical.
it for the bonus.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll give myself a +2 bonus on this bluff check.
I would like kind of an in-universe explanation for what the Cryptic Omens, like how that works in universe.
Each day, when a mirror witch consults with her patron mirror, the patron fragment can speak a few words of cryptic advice about the witch's future. While the words are often obscure when the fragment utters them, they nearly always make sense when the witch is at just the right moment to the witch at just the right moment and aid her in her dealings with the stress of the threats of the day. Once per day after the witch receives
Now,
this advice,
I know what
can
the
gain-
mechanical aspect for it is, for how Cryptic Omens works. I can read that myself. I'm just curious of how that looks in lore.
Well, every morning I consult with my patron via my mirror, and they provide one of the things that we discuss in the course of our contact is they give predictions.
Okay. What did your patron via your mirror tell you this morning that's helping you with this situation?
Uh, I don't know, perhaps something related specifically to one of the guards and an interest or weakness they might have that I could exploit, or some sort of
I know I've put you on the spot and I apologize, but this is the kind of stuff that I am going to ask you guys when you use abilities, especially if it's something we haven't seen before. I hope this is something that in the future that we can use to like throw out a little bit more enticing like set dressing. And I understand if that's not the case right now, but I will say that like what you've thrown out up to this point for what it could be sounds more like a prompt I would provide for you to make like, you know, to decide on a train of thought for how you would explain it.
well, I mean, it's my character remember something that was told to him by a supernatural entity. That didn't make sense up until it finally did make sense. I don't really have I don't understand how I have enough context about like the individuals involved in this to come up with that sort of
Well, I mean, I haven't provided you with
tidbit.
any of it at this point, and if a lack of direction is the problem, I can provide you with one. But I have a weird feeling based on the way you've talked about this so far that if I gave you a sense of direction, it won't help. But if I'm wrong, please correct me.
I guess I don't really know what I don't understand what you want me to provide you with.
Just like, I mean, if we look at the writing of it, there's a few words that should have been provided to you this morning, right? That your character didn't understand how they were going to help you. But in this moment, there's some kind of realization coming upon Ventus that is helping him with this situation. I've intentionally left it vague so that you could come up with the quote unquote few words that would help you. But if you think me aiding you with some direct, like giving you some context to the situation beyond what I already have, would help you decide on what those might be, then I can do it. I'm just kind of looking, because up to this point we haven't had much conversation about your patron, so I can't without just enforcing an unguided version of my will on you. I can't provide that context myself, so I'm trying to give you a space to do it so that I have and everyone else has a little bit of an insight into your patron, and via that your character.
What sort of message did your patron, like what words did your patron say to you? Help.
I mean, I
And no, if it's a rut, that's fine. We can move on.
well, I mean, my patron is party knowledge that I do not have, so I don't. But she's I have the I think the intrigue or the enchantment patron, and
Yeah.
my patron is the Green Mother, who's an elder from the First World.
Well, why don't we just move on from now? Obviously, there's some kind of conversation we need to have to make it so that there's an easy way for us to establish what this kind of stuff will be in the future.
Okay.
I apologize if you feel like I'm putting you on the spot. Not trying to.
No, no worries.
Feel free to give me that roll. Don't forget to add your modifier.
Yeah, bluff.
Yep. Nice.
Well, whatever your patron told you, it was super helpful.
Right?
Yeah.
That is definitely enough. I'd love to know how you went about convincing the guards at the gate that
Well, I mean, it might very well have been by like flirting with them.
Okay. Yeah, Ventus. I think that's fair. You're able to flirt with one of the two guards, which gives us a little bit of insight into some leanings of said guard. You manage to shine up to him and make your way back through. I assume with some kind of vague, not promise or guarantee, but some kind of vague opportunity.
Implication.
Yeah. That some kind of implication. I was trying to flirt with it, but implication is a straightforward way to put it. I was trying to flirt with it. That was bad. I'm sorry. Yeah, some kind of implication that lets you get through the door ahead of a line that like you probably should have had to wait for. But I assume Ventus doesn't really worry about those kind of things. You have a job to do, and you're gonna take care of it.
Well, I'm a naturally flirty person. Well, I'm not, but my character is. Ventus is.
It comes easily to you. Here's something to think about. And I know this is a little sidetracky, but if a character is a natural extension of yourself and you make a flirty character, even if you don't view yourself as a character, and even if objectively you aren't a flirty person, right? Or as I said, quote unquote character, it at the very least represents something you'd like to express. So maybe you're just like a novice flirty character in the real world. I don't know. That does get you back in though. I will give you that. It was really good. Had it been a lower roll, it could have been something from like you need to wait until the next round to do it, or it could have been just delayed. But that's enough to get you back in for now. So we can just leave your token where it is, because you would be just getting back to this at the end of the quote unquote social round. I'll leave it up to you guys. If you guys want to run a little bit longer today, I would be happy to do that. I'd be willing to get everyone else's action done for this round.
Yeah, I'm good with going on longer.
Yeah,
I
can
don't
go
mind
on
going a
longer.
bit far. I don't mind going till the end of this round, so we all get our turn.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool. Let's do
Yeah,
it then.
I'm fine with that.
Let's move on to Davluk. What are you up to?
I'm being introduced to Princess Eutropia, and of course, Davluk offers like his most sincere genuflection and a smile, of course, without showing that he's got fangs beneath his mouth. So, pleasure to meet you, Junker und Baronet from Ustalav, Sir Sir of the Strivida Drakenstein house. At your service.
Calbio seems a little bit surprised, but he
No, he to Eutropia.
No, I know you're introducing yourself to Princess Entropia. He just expected to do that for you.
Oh no! After he's done being introduced to.
Okay.
Yeah.
In that case, he would have provided that title for you if he
Oh,
was
yeah,
given
sorry.
the opportunity.
Yes. Okay, forget that then. Okay, so.
It might not have been
Charles-
as clean as
exactly.
yours,
So-
but he would have done it.
Okay, so charmed to meet you, my lady.
And he would have introduced Princess Entropia to you as well, so he did
Yeah,
both of them.
yeah, so he just says charmed to meet you, my lady.
She would extend her left hand, which is it's firm but it's relaxed same time, forward, almost as if you should kiss it.
Yeah, he does offer the traditional kiss to the hair, and after the little genuflection, and straightens himself up and offers his best closed-lipped smile.
As you lean forward to kiss her hand, you see her. She kind of pulls it away, and you see her smirk a little bit, like an old custom. Something that I think is somewhat beneath all of us, though it is nice to play around with it occasionally.
Unfortunately, clairvoyance is not one of my talents, but good show, he says, offering a little genuine clap for the joke she played on him.
Do you want to give me that sense motive or knowledge and ability to know a little bit about her?
Okay. Here we go.
At this point, she okay, that's pretty fucking good roll. So once again, since it's been a minute, I'll give the general information for her and then the bit that Davlik would know. You guys all know why Princess Entropia is here today. She wants to be heir to the throne. But you all also know that she has spent a big chunk of her life helping the people around her, the people in her nation, and even occasionally being a defender of philosophical or even political participation when it comes to duels. She's opposed to those. It's not as common as her, because it can go beyond just a dedication to her people. She thinks the concept of duels, even though it doesn't come up as often as a lot as most of the other things that she's an advocate for or against, it is something that sticks out about her. She thinks that duels are an outdated form of determining wrong from right, something that should be dealt with, though obviously, as you can all tell based on what's happening tonight, there are more important things to deal with before duels can be resolved. You would know Davlik, that like her 20 years in the cutthroat politics of Taldor have molded Princess Entropia into this canny, observant member of this politicking community that's happy to toy with other people and let them overextend themselves, just so that they're easier to play with. She has a deep feeling, specifically for Taldor, and the people of it, which is actually the more important aspect of that, the people of Taldor, that extends to every member of it, regardless of their status. And she hopes to raise the living standards, even if they are already relatively impressive to the rest of Lorien. She wants to raise those standards for each member of this society, and she also wants to increase the nation's profile abroad, so that other people can look at Taldor in the light that it should be. She wants to improve all of you, and she wants to help people recognize that all of you are improving.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He does say that, like, I do greatly appreciate that there are people who aren't set in the old ways of birthright and haven't let Galt put the fear of any progress deep into their hearts. He says, while admittedly I came to this country for the family business, over family matters, and while some might regard the family of monster hunters as not exactly the epitome of noble grace and refinement. And please allow me to offer you my deepest appreciation for the work you do, and it hopes that it might also reach places as set in ancient ways as Ustalav and other countries to the north of Taldor, who all look upon this nation as the trendsetter of Avestani culture.
As long as great men such as the two of you are willing to offer yourselves as examples, as beacons, I believe that people such as us can guide the rest of Taldor, the few of those that still hold on to artifacts of a previous time. I believe that there are many things that we and those around us can come to learn, and I believe the abolition of such a hideous law as primogeniture is a step, a major one, in the right direction.
Agnatic primogeniture, like agnatic is the term for male only. Inactic refers to cognatic refers to both both male and female can inherit, and inactive refers to only female. So agnostic primogeniture is something so archaic they don't even have it in the ghoul-haunted forests of Ustulav. So, I do stand by your effort to see this country recognize the potential of fully half of its people who, to this point, are regarded as lesser for nothing more than accident of birth. Anything else?
Do you want to give me a
Since,
sense?
a sense what?
Do you want to give me a sense motive or knowledge and ability to figure out the influence DC or whatever discovery Princess Entropia has? Which one do you want?
I went with knowledge and ability since it's by far my best.
Do you want the influence or the influence DCs or the discovery?
Discovery.
Okay. There's a weakness she has that I can give you some information on if you give me handle animal or sense motive. It's not enough for me to provide you with the weakness.
Oh dear. I could say the knowledge and ability doesn't provide anything further then.
As of right now, no.
Okay.
I mean, at the very least, you discovered and attempted to exploit her weakness this round.
All right.
It's a solid attempt. Let's move on to Aethella.
Oh, she did win the initiative. Okay.
Yep.
What were the ways to influence the library? I don't
So-
remember what the list.
I did want to, just to make sure we're actually doing it. If there's some reason that the two of you decide Tychus should go first, that's okay. You guys should talk about that.
Are you planning to just focus on the room?
I wasn't sure. I guess Athela could try to talk. I mean, if you mentioned that you needed to talk to the person here, then Athela would help. Would try to talk to him first to see if she could find information that would help you.
Okay. I would say, because I was thinking of using my background trait here, which lets me once a day, I can just get the information from a discovery check on a Taldan Noble without
Oh.
having to roll for it. I figured I would use that for my second target here, since got the
Nice.
first one covered.
You told her that you think you got it covered, then she's just gonna check out the library.
All right,
Okay.
sounds good.
Yeah, the two options here are to influence the room or interact with Duke Leonard Centimus.
Okay, so what are what are Athela's options for the library?
I mean, you can interact with the Duke or with the room.
I'm sorry. What are her options to influence right with the room?
I have a lot of
Okay. What checks you can do? Okay, that's my bad.
Yes, that's what I was trying to ask.
You
Sorry.
can give me linguistics, professional librarian, or scribe, followed up by knowledge, arcana, geography, history, or stealth.
All right, she'll give a linguistics check.
Okay. Nice.
Still pretty good. It was almost a 20, but a 14 is still pretty good. So, I mean,
Yeah.
a 14.
Both of those are pretty good. Okay. I'm gonna give you 8 points of influence.
This is 11 for the archives.
We already
We
did
already
you
had
guys
some
interact
papers
with the
here.
archives last session?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Davluk and
Okay.
Tychus, I think, went to the archives last.
Cool.
It wasn't me, but I know one of
Oh.
us went to the archive last time.
Oh. That's enough
I w-
to push you guys to the first threshold. So as you begin to like socialize in here, Aethella, there's a guide that's leading a group of nobles that you're a part of. And they lead you over to this old blueprint that the guide is kind of explaining as he's pointing at different parts of it, and it's to the Senate building. And he's explaining that like the current structure was built atop the ruins of several older Senate buildings. There's actually multiple Senate buildings this has been built on top of. And then you can see that as he's talking about this, that the interest of this group is kind of waning. And he very quickly like pivots towards this description of how there are multiple levels of the old Senate buildings that involved in intentional like burying of people that worked on the structure themselves. And it was viewed as this like grim reward from the nobles of the time.
Ella finds all of this very interesting, because the history of center of the civilization, this sort of seat of power, she actually finds quite fascinating. She pays a lot of attention.
I
Asks
would
some questions.
also make a note of
Observes.
this on your sheet.
She paid a lot of attention.
Yeah. That you were a part of this group of nobles in the Imperial Archives. There are people here that will appreciate that fact in the future.
Okay.
And
That will be her turn.
there is
Sorry.
at least one more threshold for the Imperial Archives.
Okay. And I'm just going to note that she also found this interesting because this confirmed some of the information that we had sort of heard in our rumors that we discussed, which was that there were a fair number of sort of secret type things underneath the structure, passages and stuff that make sense.
Yeah.
Feels
Especially
good to
given
be
it was
validated,
built
doesn't
on
it?
top of old things. Yeah. So Athella's just gonna have filed that away as something she knows now, and pretty cool tour. She's happy that she went to do this.
Let's move on to Tychus.
All right. So I guess the first thing here is I'm strolling my way towards the archive as I'm going to be going back through my memories here of where I've heard the name Duke Centimus before.
Okay.
And that would be once a day I can recall a specific fact about a Taldan noble's personality, quirk such as a hobby or a pet peeve, including information you would normally learn as a discovery check in social combat.
Okay.
So does that like replace the initial knowledge and ability check?
No, because the initial one isn't necessarily a discovery. This is just gonna
Okay.
enable you to like get that information and take an action. Let's start from the
Okay.
beginning. Let's see if we can get you some general information, a little bit of insight into the Duke, who, as of note, is a half elf.
Oh, okay. Add that to the notes.
Who, if we're looking at like the scale of racism, because that's really what it is in Taldor, is one of the more accepted races.
Not like a Dampier, which would probably get Davluk lynched.
Yeah, it's more
I don't know that you'd be straight up lynched, but you definitely wouldn't be liked. We're not quite in the kind of country that's just going around killing people because of their...
yes, we're not quite to that point yet. Let the Imperialists stay in power for a while longer first.
Yeah, if you want to give me that initial check, that would be great. Damien.
Okay.
Knowledge, nobility, or sense motive?
Oh, sense motive too? Alrighty.
It's one of those. Whichever you prefer.
Alrighty. That's still alright. Well, might be, I don't know.
Okay. So I'll give you guys the general information first. Duke Centimus, he is actually here as more of an attachment. He's the attending Duke for Grand Duchess Cicera Tiberian of the Tandic Prefecture. He's a bit of an intellectual and a tinkerer. Who has a mindset that makes him very good in administrator positions, which is part of why he is the attending duke for the woman that he is. Though he is a little bit awkward with people. This is something that you guys could all know about this man.
What does attending Duke mean?
It means that the Grand Duchess is actually the more important person in that relationship.
Yeah, he's basically a Lord Consort, and she's the one that's actually has the title.
Got it. Okay. I wasn't sure, so I was just making
Sure.
sure making sure we understood.
Yeah.
More
Yeah, it's
specifically-
like how Philip was titled Prince Consort and not King.
Well,
Yeah.
more specifically, it means she's the one that owns the land.
That's an important note.
Mhm.
Though I will say that Tychus, I'm going to give you a little bit of information with that role. It could have been a lot better,
Yeah.
but I can give you a little bit. This is another piece that like you wouldn't just straight up know about him unless you'd actually met him, but it's something you knew in advance without having to meet him, Tychus. It's that like he doesn't have the use of his legs, and you know why. He was actually in a riding accident at one point. And there's a lot of people that think this makes him a less capable leader. And one of the less probably the one piece about him you know that makes him in a lot of people's eyes a little bit distasteful to be around is that he's refused in quite a fit of stubbornness that continues to persist. He refuses to hire someone to heal the damage to his legs. This is something that he could fix with his money, but
Yeah.
he's refused to have that happen.
So he's refusing to like get a regeneration spell cast on his legs, essentially.
Yeah. I
He
guess
could
that
walk if he
explains
wanted
that.
to, but he doesn't.
Right.
And you said you're going to use your trait so you can get his discovery, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so his paraplegia is actually another challenge that he tinkers with. He actually uses this as a source for his experiments. And there's an appreciation for which he is willing to express if you notice any adjustments or personal improvements he could make on the chair that he's in. Assuming you start up a conversation with him about this, there's a very high degree to which he can enjoy discussing ideas for future revisions of his chair. And like specifically, this is like a wheelchair he's in. And
Yeah.
if you can take things from his perspective, especially when it comes to this, it extends to even another level. And if you have some kind of unique position, be it related to this or that you can somehow segue to this, I think that could add on to that in a unique way, though I'd be curious to see if you do have something.
Okay. All right. So I think for my action, then I would like to try and influence him, and I will attempt to approach him from the angle of.
Well, what you can do before that is if you want, you can give me a knowledge, nobility, or sense motive to find the DCs out if that would interest you.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I mean, there's no reason not to, right? You get to do it
Yeah,
anyways.
Right. No reason not to at least roll.
Okay. It's all DC 15s for this man.
Okay, and getting the discovery gives me a +4 if I can find a way to segue into it. Is that how
Yeah.
that
If you
works,
can
or-
use what I've given you for his weakness, then you can have that +4. And this would be for diplomacy, bluff, or knowledge, geography, or nature checks.
Hmm. Bluff diploma. So probably going to have to do bluff there because I don't have the other ones. All right, so the way I would like to approach this then is I would like to approach it as a junior scholar who has heard of his work and has an interest in the projects he's worked on, who works with other injured parties, or say he works with injured soldiers who've been crippled or otherwise wounded in war and can't afford the expensive magics that are required to repair such damage. And he's fascinated by the Duke's attempts to create alternate options, some of which may even be able to be brought down in cost and perhaps be put into wider spread use.
I love it. Yeah. I think you definitely got the +4 with that. Which skill are you going with?
Gotta go with bluff because I don't have the other ones.
It's fair.
I guess that's also fitting because you aren't actually that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like the idea of his work, but I'm not actually
Oh
any
yeah.
kind of expert on it.
Yeah, no, his work that kind of work does sound like a good thing. Like when you
Yeah.
were outlining it, I was like, dang, that's something that like that would be a good thing to do.
This kind of mindset is the exact kind of sentiment that has driven me to vote in favor of Princess Entropia. I don't believe the condition of a man or woman's body should be something that rules their lives or dictates their capability of rulership, no matter what the capacity.
All right. It's a wonderful mindset to see, sir. And I sincerely wish you good luck in continuing to improve your already amazing work.
If there are any modifications or adjustments for which you think would be sensible, especially if you can think of some way to mitigate the expenses related to a device such as this, I would appreciate any input for which you have.
This is the harder part. So, can it, since I'm
It-
bluffing this,
It looks like a big, clunky, almost entirely like the wheels and the backboard and the arms are almost entirely made out of metal, with the exception of the center backing of the wheelchair and the parts where you would actually rest the arm, and that's made of wood, which is then covered in some very nice looking padding.
all right.
If you give me do you happen to have knowledge engineering?
I don't have knowledge engineer. I've got nobility, local, and history. Like the person, have ideas for improving that, but I don't think Tychus would.
Okay.
Could I?
Give me a bluff check if you want.
Yeah,
If you just want to spout some bullshit.
yeah. Try to spin some convincing sounding bullshit that makes it sound like I'm just sort of young and naive and not necessarily having fully completed my studies in this matter, rather than that I'm just lying to him.
I can definitely
Like you
see how
want to
that
help,
that would
but don't know
work.
how.
I
Yeah.
want to help, but I'm not at his level.
I like it. Give me your bluff.
Do I get the bonus on this, or no? It's not an influence.
No. Nice.
Yep.
Okay.
You are
Yeah,
very
you
convincing.
you managed to like very elegantly guide the conversation in a direction for which there comes a point where he understands and acknowledges that like there is a difference when it comes to skills, especially related to this specific device, and he gives you an easy out for the conversation where you are able
Yeah,
to move away from it.
Yeah, I'll imply that my skills are more in the actual like medical care aspects of it, and I'm interested as an extension of that.
And I think throughout this conversation, you'd actually learn a little bit more about him. In that like he intentionally avoids at any point actually talking about the accident itself. I mean, as I've expressed, he is fairly interested in the invention related to it, but he doesn't want to discuss specifics when it comes to what happened.
Yeah, and I pick up on that and avoid doing so.
Good. I think with that huge chunk of progress you guys have made today, we can call it good there. I will make a note that's not necessarily important to like when compared to some other activities, but it's still pretty important. Completing like getting the influence with Duke Centimus is one of the requirements for the Discovery mission.
Oh, okay. So I'm not actually done yet.
Yeah. Did you? I don't know if have you read it today? Have you actually had a look at it?
The message you sent me at the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. I need the reason they hold that position as well. Okay.
Yeah. There's a little bit more. But you're close. You're getting there.
Okay.
Well, I think we all made some good progress today. Like each of us accomplished some things.
Yeah.
All of you did good work today, and I'm happy to see it. And there was variety in the work too, which is nice. Goes off.
I'm glad Athella's dice heated up a little bit from the beginning, where she rolled the the 2, 3, and 6, the 2, 3, and 5 in a row.
Yeah.
I was like,
That